Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. So Dune is right around the corner. The set is about to be legal in just one more week, and there are still some archetypes that we still need to cover. Um, the archetype we're going to be talking about today involves this card and involves a new monster type. So in the TCG, this new monster type is going to be introduced. It is the Illusionist archetype, um, and the way it's going to be worked upon for this set specifically, we're going to get 4 monsters, 2 fusions, and this spell card. So I'm going to do a TLDR because people are probably already familiar with the Chimera cards by the time of this recording. So I'm just going to mainly talk about what the deck does, how the cards work, and potential engines that you can incorporate into this deck, and how people are currently playing it. That way you are more prepared for it. Without further ado, let's begin. Let's start with the Illusionists. All the Illusionist monsters have the effect where they cannot die by battle, and whatever they fight can also not die by battle. Cornfield, you can discard it from your hand, add anything that involves Chimera Fusion, well, monster specifically. Mirror Swordsman, you can tribute it from field, and you can special summon a monster that involves Chimera Fusion. Baphomet can add any level 4 beast and or Chimera Fusion. Gazelle can add a level 5 Fiend or Chimera Fusion. This monster is treated as Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast. That detail is very, very important. And in the end phase, you can snipe a card from your opponent's hand. Chimera, what it does is whatever monster it battles, it gives it 0 attack and negate its effects. Also, this card can attack a multitude of times depending on the fusion materials. Okay, very simple, right? Now let's cover other details. Quilter and Mirror Swordsman, they both have protection effects as long as you control the Chimera, banishing them from grave or from your hand. This protects you from targeting, from any card that targets you, and this protects you from monster effects that are activated on the field. Basically, they can negate any of them. If Baphomet is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon an Illusionist from your graveyard. So any of these two or this guy. Gazelle, if it's sent to the graveyard, can add any Illusionist. Okay. And the Chimera, if it's in your graveyard during your opponent's turn, you can banish it from your graveyard and you can special summon any Beast, Fiend, or Illusionist. Now that I covered that part, let's talk about potential beasts and fiend monsters that can be added from these effects. Because if you take note, Baphomet can add any level 4 beast, and Gazelle can add any level 5 fiend. The level 5 fiends that came into mind, at least the better ones, were the Dark World monsters, because there are 2 different level 5s, Silva being the more important one. Like, there's a reason this card is banned in Master Duel. There's the Dark Summoning Beast, so if you ever are playing an archetype or strategy that involves summoning like the Sacred Beast gods, this card works alongside them. And then there's Sinister Necrom. You can banish this from your grave and just special summon an evil hero. So if you decide to play a hero strategy, you can incorporate this, and this deck is a fusion based deck, so you can make it work for hero monsters. And something important to note is Chimera fusion can make it so you can fusion someone into anything as long as the fusion materials, one of them is a beast or a fiend. So you can pretty much use any of these guys. From the level 4 beasts, we have Nefarious Archfiend, King Tiger Wanghu. There's the rescue monsters, so rescue cat, rescue rabbit, rescue hamster are all example. And then there's this card. I wanted to leave this card for last because this card also comes out in DUNE. The card is called Uruka the Magic Star. Basically what this does is that if your opponent makes a card, a monster you control leaves the field, specifically one monster, you can banish the Uruka and either summon the monster that left the field, or summon the Uruka. If the Uruka is summoned, you can gain 1500 attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. So I felt this was a very cool honorable mention because not only is it a new card from DUNE, but this card does have utility in this deck because the way you want the deck to work is you want to keep your Chimera, the Phantom Beast, at all times. That way you can do either the negation effects from these cards, the recursion effect from Chimera Fusion, or like just another myriad stuff. So yeah. So other things to note. If you look at the main deck, at least with just these 5 cards and these 2 monsters, there is a lot of room for non-engine, which is very, very good for a deck like this. The way people are playing the deck as of right now is that they're incorporating the branded engine as well as the engine package. So let's talk about the engine first. This is a fiend monster, so you can use it as a fusion material to summon the Chimera. And if that happens, this will grab you Patchwork, and Patchwork will grab you Polymerization as well as another copy of Edge and Chain. And that's really, really strong because not only that, but we're also playing Magnum the Reliever, and we're also playing Guardian Chimera. And these are 2 cards that also synergize with Polymerization. Magnum is another DUNE card. Basically what it does is you can spin back Branded Fusion or Poly in order to draw a card, or you can banish one of them to destroy and target something on the field if a card or effect is activated as a quick effect. The fusion materials are 1 monster special from the extra deck, which is pretty much easy because of stuff like Guardian Chimera. The original Chimera, and 1 monster from your hand, which is also going to be easy because if you if you resolve your Chimera fusion line, you're going to have cards already in hand to make it work. Now let's talk about Branded Fusion. Why is Branded Fusion here? So the thing about Branded Fusion is you can fuse Fallen of Albas with Gazelle, and that makes you Rinbrum, the Striking Dragon. Rinbrum's effect is not the important part. The important part is that you send Gazelle, and Gazelle makes it so you can add any Illusionist. So basically, Branded Fusion will get you into Rinbrum, but it also gets you into your Cornfield or your Mirror Swordsman, which will get you to Dead Baphomet, which will get you to Chimera Fusion as well as Gazelle or any other beast. So basically, it's another recursion loop engine that comes into play. Another important note is that Springan's Kit is one of the level 4 beast monsters you can add with the Performant, and Springan's Kit can add you or recur you Branded Fusion. So that's also really, really strong. Like, because if you do your entire rotation play with your Mirror Swordsman, you basically have a sub engine that can get you to Branded Fusion. If you control Fallen Fall Blast, you can special summon this, and this will make it so you can grab back the Branded Fusion if you already exhausted your copies. So yeah, this is pretty much like the engine that people are playing at the moment. But what are other options that can be played alongside this? Since the engine for Chimera Fusion is very, very minimalistic, I thought Golden Lord would be a good idea, because basically you're just playing like your typical Elvish deck. However, you have a very small engine that can generate you pluses, only works with one card, and has very little conflict with like with your engine, because the engine is just very compact. Another option that I thought about was Alistair the Invoker. And really cool thing about Alistair is that you can fuse it with Chimera Fusion to make Caliga, as if you use Performant. You can summon Regin if you use the Chimera. You can fuse into Purgatrio if you have a fire monsters, and Purgatrio is pretty cool because it is a fiend monster, so you can use it as a material for Chimera Fusion. Also, Invoke Caliga is a beast monster, so you can also use it as a material for with Chimera Fusion. But yeah, that's like one detail that I noticed when it comes to Alistair. Another really cool thing about Alistair, it makes it so you can play Magical Meltdown. And Magical Meltdown is a really, really strong card in a deck like this one, because it makes it so your opponent cannot negate Chimera Fusion, and whatever you summon with it, they cannot respond to it. So if you end up summoning something like Magnum the Reliever, or summoning something like Guardian Chimera, there is very, very little your opponent can do to stop it, because of the implications behind Magical Meltdown. As I already brought up already, you can play Dark Worlds and just mix the Chimera engine alongside them, because it's a very low impact engine. Branded is a very solid choice. But yeah, you have a lot of room for non-engine, so you can play it alongside a lot of hand traps. That's what many people are doing right now. The reason they're playing a lot of hand traps is because it makes it so you can summon Guardian Chimera using your hand traps if you draw like redundant copies or pieces of them, which is not incorrect. The other thing with the edging package, it makes it so like Chimera cannot be targeted, as I mentioned before. Therefore, it makes it really hard for your opponent to like fight through it. But yeah, like overall, I think this archetype is very, very strong. I think there's a lot to explore when it comes to this, and I wouldn't put it at the level of the top contending decks at the moment. However, under the right circumstances, with this being properly built, it can catch a lot of people off guard, because this engine is very, very strong at what it does with just very minimal resources. I hope you found this video informative. I hope this was very understanding. I guess one more card I didn't cover is another DUNE card. Is this one, Fusion Reinforcement. This card, what it does is you can reveal a fusion monster from your extract, and you can special summon a monster that's a fusion material for it. So I don't have it on me, but you can play the original version of the Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast. And what's really cool about this is that if you summon the Chimera with this, it gives your Illusionist your protection effects online while you're doing your entire play. So if you are summoning the Bird format and they're trying to like Valor and Imperm, and you use the Fusion Reinforcement and you have the Chimera on board, you can use the Cornfield effect to just negate it. I almost forgot to mention that. But yeah, stay tuned. The DUNE is right around the corner. I don't think I'll be able to cover every single deck or strategy that comes with this set. However, I felt like this was a very important one because it is a new monster type. It did very little in the OCG, which means there's no real play data or no real like history of how this deck was performing, which makes people not be as prepared for this. And on the right hands, on the right pilot, or if we do get a future ban list, I think this is just the very beginning. I think this can be very, very, very strong. I think this actually legit has the potential to top a major event. If people just don't prepare for this. But yeah, that's it from me. Keep practicing and keep dueling.